AI in music.
Actually, it's like the tap fully open.
Top tips of 2026.
A bit of a swamp, like there's too much of it.
Hi, and we're here. We're back with our final episode of the year. It's December, and we've had a brilliant year. We've had some amazing guests on our show this year. I'm going to bring you more of that, more live labs as well, which we're really excited about, and more of this podcast. But do tell us what you want to hear in 2026. Right now, we are going to discuss the single biggest topic of the year in the music industry, which is AI in music. It's cut people down the middle. Some people love it, some people hate it. The key question that's on my mind and on most people's lips at the moment is, are we going to see it as a replacement for actual real musicians, or are we going to see it as a supportive creative tool?
Yeah, good question. I've definitely something that's been on our minds for a long time, since ChatGPT and since Suno had launched, and other different music creation platforms are now coming into the space. I think there's a lot of concern out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of worry amongst artists about whether it's just going to replace them completely. I think we need to start to look at the big picture. Like, what is the purpose of AI? Like, what is...
That is true.
What is the purpose of what these tools are doing?
Well, I suppose they're there. The purpose of AI, I see, in a very simple answer, is it's there to help you, to make your life easier, to make you a better human.
Yeah, sure. And in terms of music creation, you can now go on to Suno and...
What is Suno? I keep hearing about Suno. Obviously, there's been a universal Suno partnership announced this week.
Yeah, so Suno's a AI generative music platform, and you can just type a prompt in and it'll produce music within seconds. So, For example, make me a song that sounds like The Weeknd, and it'll just knock out a bunch of tunes and they're actually quite good a lot of the time.
Okay.
You'll have to obviously get good at prompting. Now, there's still problems with it. It's not perfect.
So it's almost like a DALL-E. It's a creative design tool. It's all about the prompts you put in, which give you the best outcome. If you put the shit prompts in, you'll get crap kind of AI generated images. I've got friends in there that have created works of art that they've actually showcased on an online gallery that are just insane. But so are you saying it's the same thing?
Yeah.
So you have to be so good at your prompts in that.
Well, not even that great at prompting, but enough that you can experiment and produce music. I think David Bowie described it really well when he did that interview about what's the future of music, and he said, well, the creation of it starts off very slow, a bit like a tap with water. It's just a drop at a time, and then suddenly the drops turn into a few more drops at a time, and then eventually it's like the tap fully opens and then it's full running water, and that's where we're at the moment. So anyone can make an album within seconds. Now, what does that do for creators? They're suddenly thinking, well, okay, there's two things. One, there needs to be an adaptation. So artists need to adapt to this new world. Because the cat's out of the bag. We're not going back.
But it's not. That's it. We have to embrace it.
And I think the second part is there needs to be a fight for monetization, because these tools are built on other people's IP, other people's songs. Other people's
because you're feeding in. So if it's like you're making a cake with eggs and flour and butter, you're actually feeding the mix in to output the beautiful track.
But the raw ingredients are from the artists themselves. So
exactly.
This is similar to the 2000 early noughties situation with Napster, and effectively using other people's music, turning it into free digital downloads, and people couldn't exploit it for whatever reason, and they don't have to pay for CDs, and that obviously hurt the artist. That then later evolved into Spotify streaming and monetization and so on. Now, you could say, well, artists don't get paid enough, and we 100% agree with that. But there was a move from it being free to being paid. And I think we need to make that same transition now with AI.
Right.
So the models that use their songs need to pay some kind of licensing or royalty to the artist. Now, the big question is, how do you
do that?
Configure that? How do you know what materials put into these models to create the music? So there's going to need to be a lot of licensing and litigation, and maybe there's court cases that are going to happen. I think there needs to be a fight. So I think that's the second part of this. There needs to be a fight.
But isn't it that essentially the big guys are going to win again, because most of the reference tracks are going to be of the big iconic artists, isn't it? So you're going to pour in Taylor Swift and Beyonce and whatnot, and then maybe put a bit of your track in as well, previous catalogue, and then mix it all up. So is it that they're just going to benefit again from it all, the big artists?
Yeah, there is this risk. So there's one upside is that we can turn it into the same situation that we had before, where Suno then, for example, and many other AI production platforms will start to pay license fees to artists, and so they can both earn from monetization of their own music and from the exploitation of AI. So that needs to happen so that artists and creators get paid. But there is risks. If the major label, which they've already done a deal with Suno on, decide, I'm just going to use AI art because normal artists are a bit more expensive, they need taken care of, whereas this art over here is kind of cheap and I can exploit. But I think, big picture, we need to look at how artists adapt to this new world as well. And so this is the other side of the coin, and the other side is the artists could use these tools to their advantage. We are seeing some artists embrace them, like for music creation and production and that kind of thing. But also think big, think bigger picture. They should be multi-form creators. And look at other things that they could be doing aside from just making music.
Well, that's it, and that kind of will bring us nicely into the sort of top tips of 2026. I appreciate there's a lot more to go into this with in terms of AI and whether it's a friend or foe. We're definitely saying our opinion is it's going to support you and aid you. It might be that you're not, you're stuck on a chorus idea, and then you can obviously kind of utilize the tools that are out there. It might be that production wise you can never really afford a good producer, lean into this. The opportunities are endless.
I mean, if we look at, for example, I'm just throwing out there, say if you're a poet and you love writing words, but you don't know how to put down a melody, or you don't know how to get something produced, you don't know anybody, you've got all this at your fingertips. You can put the words into an AI. I mean, some people might not like what comes out, but they're so passionate about the writing and the words. But that's what's most important.
I guess the sad thing is not everyone's going to have access to these tools. And, for example, I don't know, there might be some countries that just do not even know this is happening.
Well, they do have access. Everyone has access.
Yeah, but they may not know about these tools. So it might be that some people, I don't know, of a certain age might not be deciding to use them. Maybe I do understand there's quite a big pushback from the much younger generations.
Well, they're definitely easy to access.
They're definitely easy to access.
It's too easy, and it's too cheap.
But the thing is then, would you say that a person not using any form of AI for their songwriting is at a disadvantage to someone who is? And will that start creating a bigger gap?
It's democratized that advantage, so anyone can get the access to the tool, like anyone can get access to.
But say if you just I don't know, say if you were a man and his guitar with a ton of books in a cabin somewhere in Scandinavia, and you just don't even tune into the internet. Would you say that's he or she's going to be a disc?
Yeah, I mean those are exceptions, but for the most part, everyone's going to use these tools, right? And they can get access to them for nothing. And so the question becomes, how do artists use this to their advantage? Do they use it to their advantage, or do they hide away? And I think there is a lot of pushback at the moment. There's a lot of artists up in arms saying this is terrible, this is awful, this is. We've seen it in BBC One introducing. Made a mistake of putting an AI artist at the top. We've seen it in the Billboard charts. But the question becomes how can you use this because the cat's out of the bag. It's at the point where we need to adapt or die, basically.
Is it going to be that there's going to be too much music out there? That's also another thing.
But if you look at where this can be used, you've got music that can be produced very easily. Now, what if the music wasn't the big piece of the puzzle? If you look at an artist and what they're trying to do, what's the purpose of trying to do? They're trying to form a human-to-human connection, right? With an audience. But a lot of artists are. There's artists that just love writing, don't get me wrong. But if you look at the big picture, what they're trying to do is create a fan base. So there's many things involved in that. And a lot of the time we hear that and I know for myself being an artist, you were so overloaded with things to do. But now you've got a friend who can help you out for free. So it can help you do your content, help you even write the music, help you co-produce, help you monetize, help you strategize, help you with all these other things so that you can build your world, your artist world. Because if you think about what is it that brings a community together, and it's the shared experience of enjoying the artist in their own world that they created. It's not just the music, it's the world. So if you look at the world as a combination of live content, experiences with the artist, all of these things pulled together create this little bubble for the people to go into and to enjoy and to escape for a minute. And so I think that's where artists need to think beyond just music. Think big picture.
That's it. And I think that's they're going to become like multifaceted artists. Basically, it's like I think that they need to start thinking about doing like more showing the behind the scenes, kind of giving a bit more insight into who you are. I know we talk about this all the time. We've talked about this subject probably about 4 times now, and I just still think artists aren't doing it. But it's like you need to show what's going on behind the song, basically, not the camera, the song, and give us an insight. Think about potentially launching your own podcast. Speak to other musicians, like deep dive into subjects. Apparently, podcasts are going to be the number one way that people are going to discover music in 2026. Didn't know that. There you go. That's a top tip of ours. So podcasts are going to form a massive part of the music discovery cycle. And good job that Liberty Music are going to be launching a podcast arm, which we're very proud of. What other trends? We're moving away from AI.
What
other trends?
No, I think AI is the trend. I mean, this is so big. It's like it's all encompassing. It's going to change everything about the music industry. So, having a strategy and thinking big is probably the best way forward here. And a lot of artists are not going to like the fact that they feel subordinated to AI. They don't feel like they're getting a fair deal here because their life was built around making music. Right? And now that's to be potentially taken away. So there's going to be a lot of fear and pushback. But
would we give all that extra time?
It also forces the artist to think big and use their imagination, right? And to start thinking of multi-factor types of content. Instead of just making music, maybe they write the words, but the AI does the rest. Instead of just being in the studio, maybe they can just focus on live. Maybe they focus on being a great singer, great performer, and the AI is writing music for them to play live. It takes that load off them. Maybe there's an AI agent that helps them post content because they hate posting all the time.
Absolutely.
So using it as a partner and to support your bigger vision, I think, is the way artists will succeed. And the ones that don't will be the ones that fight that, unfortunately.
That's so true. And talking about kind of content and things like that, I think almost definitely we're seeing a trend with people sort of utilising different social platforms to discover. So a lot of people are jumping onto TikTok to discover an artist and then going on to the long form content of YouTube to kind of deep dive into that particular artist. Maybe they've got their own vlog or they're doing more behind the scenes. So we're going to see a trend of cross social platforming for 2026, that's going to be really interesting. Long form content is going to be quite a big thing. I think we're all kind of bored of the TikTok 10-second flip, doom scroll. We're all bored of it, reels, whatever. What would you do if you were a musician and you knew that long form content was important next year?
I think it goes back to the same thing, like, what's my purpose as an artist? What am I trying to achieve? Am I trying to achieve a connection with my community? If so, maybe I want to attach my music to long form content that the community enjoys most, where that matches the world I'm trying to build. So maybe there's some short movies or something I want to get music involved that fit with my kind of vibe and my
That's
brand.
Cool. I like that.
And definitely building on the story, the narrative. I think artists need to get what you're on about beyond just music. And we've said this hundreds of times. It's like, what's the context you're trying to create here?
Yeah.
Long form is a great way to build context.
Yeah, absolutely. Long form is going to be the one, and we totally urge you, and like we say, utilize all the AI tools to support you in ideas. I think what it is with artists, because obviously we work with quite a lot every month, is that they just run out of ideas. They're like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm not sure. I've run out of ideas for Instagram and TikTok, and utilize ChatGPT. Say, look, give me 10 ideas for Jan 26.
Yeah.
You know, and literally do that. Another big trend I'm seeing for 2026, which again, none of this stuff is new. We've heard it all before. Is international collabs. Now you've done a lot of these, so talk to the audience about how they might sort of even. I mean, we're talking different countries, different languages, bilingual collabs.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's so many different flavors, different sounds, different languages, different vibes that you can create just by connecting with someone.
Yeah.
From a DM.
How might you go about it? So, say for example, you absolutely love a Hispanic artist or a Nigerian artist or something. What might you do to kind of get that conversation going?
I mean, you might not hear back from everyone, but just send as many DMs as you can. And you'd be surprised. If there's something that they feel is going to complement their music, you could end up with quite a big collab. If you want to start small and build your way, that's another route. You start with a smaller artist, work your way up to your favorite art, your sort of big global star or whatever.
Yeah.
But definitely just get yourself out there. And there is a talent also to being an artist in communicating and being that person. Quincy Jones was famous because he used the phone as his instrument. Mm-hmm. He'd know how to call people and bring them into the studio.
Wow.
It's the same thing here. But in a virtual world.
Yeah, we're so lucky that we do have this sort of virtual kind of world that we can tap into. So don't be afraid. So, bilingual collabs, might sound bizarre, like, you're singing in English and they're singing in Korean or whatever, but it's fine. Just give it a go. Have a go at that. It's such a nice, again, it creates more content as well. You can even document the whole process.
100%, yeah.
Which is really cool.
And you're tapping into other people's audiences for free. You get free promotion by collabing because they're going to have an audience, you have an audience, you both win together. Yeah. So it's
Another tip I've got for you for 2026 is kind of looking at like your live tour schedule, and potentially, I know we've all got dreams of performing at Wembley Stadium, things like that, which is great, obviously. But there's a real trend with these bigger artists now performing in small, sort of like intimate scenarios. Do you want to sort of maybe give me more of insight into that?
The kind of like alternative live route is coming to take traction, I think. I think we're going to see more of that as human-to-human connection becomes more and more important in this world of AI and digitization. We are craving that live experience, and we're seeing it already. Live shows are on the up this year, that more people than ever are going to gigs.
And that's one thing, going back to AI, that AI cannot compete with at the moment. There will be eventually something will be happening in that space eventually.
Exactly.
But right now, let's enjoy it while we can.
And this is a great opportunity if you're an artist. You're probably slogging away at getting the music out. You feel underappreciated. You can see AI's taking over the sort of music creation side of things, but it's also creating new wants for people, and that want is to be in a room and to have a connection and to be part of something. Yeah. And this is where the venue thing comes in, because you don't need to use the conventional tried and used toilet circuit routes. You can work with brands, for example,
playing their storefront,
or
shop window, or do a sofa sound style gig,
or pop-up gigs.
We're actually going to be hosting something here at our house for Outpost Drive, which is our artists that we kind of work with on a more in-depth
alternative
basis.
Spaces like RD, for example, one of our artists from
performing in Butchers.
In the Butchers, like
that was funny. He basically just he mentioned to everyone an hour before that it was going to happen at some Butchers in Blatchington Road. It was quite funny. and it was like obviously shut down outside. But yeah, so things like that. So think about something, the more alternative, the weirder, maybe libraries, coffee shops, galleries. We've always said galleries, cinema,
planetariums.
Planetariums. Or summer gigs and gardens. We love all
well, that's something we'll be helping artists with in 26 as well.
Yes.
So get in touch with us about that, because we're talking to some really exciting brands at the moment who are support artists like.
Yeah. And going into that, the brand, it's all about authenticity, telling, again, the brand wants to be seen to be supporting the artist on their journey. So we are actually going to be doing a load of brand collaborations in 2026. We're really excited. We've been speaking to some amazing brands this week, which can't reveal just yet, but yeah, when those roll out, again, a lot of artists always ask me about brands. How do I get a brand deal? What do I do? What tips would you give them to getting a brand deal? Obviously, come to an agency like us, because it's more we have the relationship. But what would they do if they're on their own?
I think it's about looking for alignment. Like, you have a vision of what you're trying to create as an artist.
Yeah.
So does a brand.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're quite similar. Like, there's a similar aesthetic, a similar alignment. They believe in the same things. So reach out to those brands where you see a good fit.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to be massive as an artist. They're not always looking for the biggest names, because there's a cost involved with that. And you as a smaller artist, maybe you have an advantage in that respect. So you can build a really tight-knit community. You can put on a great show. You can turn that into loads of amazing content for the brand. And they benefit, you benefit. They'll pay you well as well. So definitely try that route.
Amazing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if there's a brand that you align with, that you think, oh my God, I love the product or the service they've recently announced, or maybe there's a kind of theme that they're talking about, messaging or language, get in touch with them. Check their socials and maybe DM them. Obviously, you're going to get lots of DMs. You might not get a reply, but keep trying,
Yeah.
But then again, come to an agency like us, and we've got the direct relationships. Last couple of trends for 2026. Obviously, trends going to be constantly evolving. One trend in Jan may not be quite the trend in March. Sync obviously is going to be massive in 2026, and preparing tracks that are hook heavy. So actually, you've done a lot of work in sync. How can they sort of dice up their music, ready for sync opportunities?
Yeah, this could be something where you work with AI as well, because a lot of the challenges with sync is volume and relationships. So what the mistake to think is, I've got one song, I want it to sync, and I want to make 20 grand or whatever out of a film deal. And those things happen, but they're so very rare, not something you can rely on. So as an artist, you need to rely on volume, like getting lots of music out there. But the library music gets a bit of a bad rap. Personally, I think it can be a little bit of a swamp. Like, there's too much of it.
Yeah.
So you need relationships, and that's where working with other producers who's also got the in at a certain sync and are getting deals already, they're going to go to the easiest path. The people who make the decisions just follow the easiest path.
Okay, so we've got two more top tips for 2026. First one being around direct-to-fan engagement and relationship building. So obviously we're seeing at the moment the whole Spotify unwrapping. There's a massive backlash. I've never seen it so strongly across my social media, but people kind of almost sticking two fingers up to them and going, I'm not doing this, I'm out, I'm signing out. Mostly musicians, obviously. So I think a big trend for 2026 will be the direct to fan delivery of your music. So almost sidestepping. It's going to be, I don't know how this would work, but I'm sure there's a company out at the moment building it, where you're sidestepping the DSP. So you're not going through Spotify. I know it's risky, because obviously you're like, well, the audience is there already, and actually delivering your music direct to their phone without it being on Spotify or Apple or Deezer or whatever. How can we do that?
We work a lot with ads, for example, and I think some artists might see an ad as salesy or something, but really, you can build creative that's really authentic and true to you, and it doesn't even feel like an ad.
So where are they streaming from? So if you're getting them to click to listen to a music, where is it?
But going back to your analogy about direct to fan, that's where they could really build a fan base, because by being really targeted and very creative with their content, They can have like an opt-in thing where artists will watch some videos and learn about what's going on, or get a feel for you as an artist, and then opt in direct from the ad. And that could be an opportunity for direct to fan.
Yeah.
But also organic. You've got the opportunity to create viral content through organic. So always keep doing that as well. But that you're right. That could be the future there. But we'll see. There may be other platforms that are a bit friendlier. SoundCloud, for example, and that are going to be more supportive of the streaming.
Yeah, I mean, obviously SoundCloud is going to be huge, and I think there's a lot more of an independent leaning towards what they're doing as a platform. Obviously, it's still a global company, corporate global company, but I feel like they're probably favouring more with the independent artists. So I think I feel like Spotify is going to lose its crown. I mean, I said this a year ago, and they're still not, but I feel they're eventually going to start losing their crown, which is, it is what it is. But I think, direct to fan is going to be huge. So really, really think about, even if you've got 10 fans, 100 fans, 100 gets to 1,000 fans.
And this is really in line with what's happening with AI, because when we talked about human to human, it
feeds into the final point of 2026.
This need for what is your purpose as an artist, to really reflect on it. Is it for you to build your community and fan base and to have that human to human connection, or is it just to simply be a creator? So or is it both? But that thing's never more important now. And we're seeing it with direct to fan. We're seeing it with the way AI is producing music and the importance of live coming back. We're seeing it all over the place. So really think about that for your strategy.
Yeah.
But just on a point earlier where we were talking about AI as sort of, people rejecting it and fighting against it, there is an opportunity as well for those purists who don't want to get involved with AI completely.
Yeah. Could be your USP.
Could be your USP. It could be the thing. This is handmade. This is homemade.
100% human-centric, human-made.
100%, yeah.
That could literally be your USP.
But ask yourself, what does it mean to be human-made? And people need to start. Artists can ask those questions.
I see it a lot. I know it sounds.
Is it the imperfections in your voice? Is it like all the things that went wrong behind the scenes?
Yeah.
All those things that AI is not going to be able to replicate.
And we're going to love that as well. We're going to love that kind of those glitchy bits and the weird, nuances and the raw element to some things that don't quite sound right.
Yeah. And our ears become so fatigued to auto-tune. We're craving for that.
Yeah.
Those things that make us who we are as human beings.
So actually flipping AI on its head as well and saying, utilize it, make it your partner, your writing partner, your buddy in the studio, or step away from it completely and make it your USP, that you use no form of AI support at all. And that is okay too. Okay. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed our 2026 tips for the year ahead. Obviously, we want to thank all our listeners and our, supporters in our community for allowing us to keep going with this podcast. I think we're almost reaching 100,000 followers, which is literally crazy. And Adam, any kind of top sort of goodbyes or any final words
just
from you?
To thank you for listening and to continue to subscribe. We've got lots more content coming for you next year, and we have a few roundup pieces before the end of the year as well. We've had some exciting new developments to Liberty with new services that we're bringing in. We're getting hyper focused on helping you build your fan base and actually have those human to human connections with the people that love what you do. So reach out to us. We're here, and let's have a really successful 26.
And I hope you guys have some downtime in this sort of festive period, and enjoy your time with your loved ones or wherever you want to be. And we will see you.
And don't forget to release music during the holidays. It's a great time.
Good time.
We say this every year.
See you bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in 2026. Bye. Thank you.